Identify as a platypus and modify your life.
Okay, be right back.
It's genius.
You know, if you really, I mean, if you want to go to the game, go sneak it through the background.
Yes. Zach is the ultimate
Or hop the
protection.
fence.
Yeah. So we're doing like 70 and 55. We go around. I was riding.
Hey!
Yeah. And like, we went over a hill, and like right when you just straight down. It's like this.
Kid.
Are you kidding?
Hey, now she answered just to say stop. All that word is to say stop.
You're welcome. Race that helps.
You can get an 80.
Bird.
Yeah.
Zach,
It can go all the way. It can go all the way.
I've got a bike.
Hey, that's a lot of power though.
It runs 200,
He's selling
50.
Really?
I'll trade you.
Can I have one? I don't have anything because my parents won't
I
let
have
me
a
do it.
350.
Then you would fall.
Honestly, you're not wrong.
Mine doesn't have speed up.
Oh, Tyler's on. Where's Tyler? Oh, there you
I
are.
couldn't get them all on one page, dude. So. All right, folks. Hi, Katrina. Sorry, I was printing off a bird list. Go ahead and open up your bird 2020 thing, 2020. And we're going to talk about some birds. Bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. Bird, bird. Did you know that song? All right, now listen. Here's what we're going to do every day. I'm going to review the birds from yesterday. Now I understand you have that list right in front of you, okay? And we will. I'm going to do lots of things to help you memorize these birds. I will tell you that it is not going to be one of those things where I'm just like, okay, I told you about the birds, and we're going to have a test the next day. We were going to practice, and I got Quizlets and stuff like that, and I want to make this so you really do. You really do get to know these birds, and that's why I'm kind of telling you some stories about them right now. And so when we go through these every day, what I'm going to start with is I'm going to say things like, okay, what is this bird? So try not to look at your list, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to mix them up, and then I'm going to call you out, see if you can figure out what they are, and then eventually we will take a test, but we're a long way away from that. Okay. So this one's an easy one, right? Hopefully, red-tailed hawk. What's the key to the red-tailed hawk? It's got a red tail, right? Okay. How about this one?
That's the red and brown tail.
That's the wax something.
Cedar waxwing, right? Cedar might be tough. Maybe I think of like a cedar chest and it's brown. Maybe that helps. Okay, but that little wax on the wing, it's got that cool mask too on its eyes. Okay, this one is also an easy one. Brown-headed cowbird. Okay, now the cowbird is a tough one. Now listen, I'm going to tell you that when we take a test on this, how it's going to go down is I'm going to give you a piece of paper that has 50 blanks on it. There is no word bank on this test. You may freak out at first and be like, we're back. But don't worry. It's going to be fine. Okay? You will be all right. Trust me. Okay, I know I got a lot of head shakes, a lot of evil eye. Okay, but let me tell you, hold on, Trace, let me finish my thought because I got the ADDs, and if I don't, then I'll forget, go from there. Okay, so let's say we're getting ready for the test. We will take a couple practice tests, okay? So I'll do this, okay? And that's going to be a good way for you to say, like, oh, I don't know these, or I do know these. If you get a perfect on the practice test, you don't have to take the real test, okay? And I will tell you, there are people every year that you're like, there's no way I could do this, okay? I believe in you, Jim. Are you, like, what kind of drink you drinking, man? A Coca-Cola? Do you have a Coca-Cola on you right now? Possibly, if you promise not to spill it.
Wait, can I bring the paper?
Right?
Everybody?
That's fine. You
For
can
everybody?
just keep it on the, keep
So
it
as long
on,
as we
keep it
don't
on.
spill it, we can bring something in.
I think I'm okay with that.
Yes.
But once it becomes an issue, then we're good. Okay, then we have an issue. Okay, right? And not during labs and any of that stuff. Okay, just keep it
How about if
on
we
the
spell it and
DL.
look it up off the
Okay.
floor?
Ooh, God.
Yes. Or you have to slurp it
Start
through the
slurping,
vacuum.
buddy.
All right. And I
Slurp,
forgot
slurp,
to
slurp.
take attendance.
I'll put it there.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Burns, what?
Yes.
So what if we have short-term memory loss?
Okay. Oh yeah, like you're like, I knew these birds, but then now I don't. Well, we'll help you. Okay, here's what I was gonna say about the whole deal. I've got a practice test, and you get them all right, but you put cowbird, but you don't put brown-headed cowbird. Okay. On the practice test, I'll give you some wiggle room. Okay, I would count that. If you got them all right, but you put cowbird down, let's go for it. You've studied them. I'm proud of you. But on the real test, you got to put the full name, brown-headed cowbird, because there's lots of different. Like, let's take Jay for instance. Okay, we all know hopefully blue jay. You've heard of blue jay. This summer when I was in California, I saw the Stellar's jay at my campground. I saw in Joshua Tree, I saw a California scrub jay. So there's lots of different kinds of jays. Okay, so we want to be as specific as possible for those birds. Okay, so we got brown-headed cowbird. This is an easy one, hopefully. For some of you, maybe you know it's an owl, right? But it's got these nice horns and it's pretty big, so it's the gray horned owls. No, not actual horns. All right, and then we left off with this little cutie, the indigo bunting, white indigo, because it's that blue color there. All right, first new one of the day is this one, okay? And the first thing I want you to type, okay, and everybody think hard about this one, because there is a prize involved. I used to think that this bird was just like, kind of like, whatever, kind of like a dumb little bird. It's about like this big. And then I started learning more about the life history of this bird. And it is extraordinary. We're going to talk about this bird, the dark-eyed junco, probably more than any other bird throughout the year, because it is phenomenal in its natural history, its life history, and everything that it does. But here's the super weird thing about, and this is why I want you to write a date down, okay? And it has to be very specific. And I want it to be your choice on which date you pick, okay? This bird is not like most birds, okay? Most birds either A, stay here all year long, or migrate. Typical migration happens in the spring. So in the spring, we get all these really cool birds called warblers coming in. They stay for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, and then they take off and go north. Birds like the barn swallow, we're gonna look at that one later. It lives in Chile during the winter time, and then it comes and hangs out in North Manchester in the summertime. Okay, most birds migrate north, okay, during our summer months. Okay, not this one. This one is weird. It comes to us in the fall and stays throughout the winter. Okay, and I get super stoked when this bird comes back. In fact, I got nerd friends. My buddy Chad Fitzpatrick and I are like already anticipating the return of this bird. Okay, hold that thought for Zach. I'll get you in just a second. Okay, so what I want you to write down is the date, like September 3rd or September 28th or October 1st, whatever. Okay, the date that you think that the dark-eyed junco will be back in North Manchester. Okay, and whoever gets closest to that date will receive a prize. I'll make it a good prize. I'm not going to make like a coupon. I don't have a dead junco. I'm thinking about trying to catch one though, and so we can like not to kill it, but so you can see it. I got some plans to catch a junco. Okay, now listen. So they're cool, and but you're like, it's just a dumb little gray bird. Oh my gosh, wait till you get to know about this bird. It's got 2 white stripes on its tail. Okay, and once again, it's about this big. It stays on the ground for the most part. You're gonna see if you had a bird feeder at your house, it would not like jump into the top of the bird feeder. It's just going to stay, and it's going to eat stuff. Like, let's say a cardinal comes to your bird feeder and it's eating, and birds are kind of messy. There's always bird seed on the ground. The junco is going to get this stuff on the ground. It lives in shrubberies lower to the ground, and it will be coming back sometime soon. Okay. Now, soon could be from now until, I'm not going to tell you when. Okay. But the closest date, we'll get a prize, and I'm going to try to make it good. I'm not going to give you a coupon for a free French fry at McDonald's or something like that. I'll try to make it good. Okay. And something physical. I've been doing this for the last couple of years. I get pumped about it. I'm jacked to see the junco again. So y'all got a date written down? Everybody one date? Okay, good. The dark-eyed junco. This summer, when I was in I know I did talk about California a lot. I was going to go. I decided to go. I got a ticket to San Diego for like $200, and I was like, I'm going to do it. So I risked it. Okay. Luckily, didn't get sick. Wore my mask. I don't know if anybody flew this summer, but it's weird.
Yeah.
And then I rented a truck, and then drove up a mountain and camped in San Bernardino Mountain. So I didn't really see a lot of people. So it was awesome. Then went to Joshua Tree, but I saw tons of good birds. And one bird that I've never seen before is a dark-eyed junco, but a very specific kind, an Oregon dark-eyed junco. And it's got a black head, same species, just a different kind of, different color. And then kind of like a rusty colored chest. I'll show you a picture of it. Oh, I'm driving my truck up this mountain. And here's the side of the mountain here, or the drop off. Here's the mountain right here. I think I'm going to die. And right in front of me, Oregon junco. I pooped a little bit. I got so excited. All right. Yeah, in my pants. All right. Now, all right. Next one. This is the pileated woodpecker. Some people say pileated woodpecker. Pileated, potato, tomato. Let's go the whole thing off, right? Okay, so the pileated woodpecker is like the epitome of woody woodpecker, okay? It's a big one. It's like this big, folks. It's a giant woodpecker, and yes, we have them here in North Manchester. Sloan, what do you got for me? Oh, yeah, man. They're all over. And in fact, I drew this picture. It's kind of a stinky picture. Sorry. This is a tree. If you see a hole that's kind of square, it can be kind of rounded on the side. We're talking about like a hole this big in the middle of the tree. That's a pileated woodpecker hole. If you see circles, that would be other kinds of woodpeckers. This bird is cool. There's one that lives by my house. I see it on the Eel River, and sometimes it flies over into my yard, into Miss Miller's yard. They are awesome. One morning, Hannah calls me. I should see if she still has this picture. She's like, oh my gosh, the pileated woodpecker is on our van. And it was perched on the mirror of our minivan. And I was so super stoked. Hey, Zach, you were going to ask me a question earlier.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say it's a little common. We have a barn swallow that's not one.
Nice. You know what? People used to think they're pests. They're the best things ever because they eat tons and tons of insects. I love them. They're really cool. All right, this bird is kind of cool. It's called the northern flicker. They used to be called the yellow-shafted flicker or red-shafted flicker. I saw red-shafted this summer. We have mostly yellow-shafted. Now, what do I mean by shaft? I'm going to show you. I'll show you on screen. This is not a red-shafted or yellow-shafted wing. This is the wing of a downy woodpecker. Okay, but it's all nice and preserved. And the shaft is this this white line where it's like the bone, if you will, of the feather. You know what I mean? So if you were like an old timey person with ink and you're writing, with the quill, right. That's where you would write that's the shaft of the feather. Y'all with me on that? Okay. So this hard part right here in the middle, that's the shaft. This bird, I believe in North America, is the only one that is not white. All birds have this white shaft. This one is either yellow or red. And when this bird flies, it's cool. This is the flicker. Now it gets its name because these dots, okay, and there's a big dot kind of on the back. When it flies, it almost looks like it's flickering. I don't really buy it, but man, they do this crazy mating dance. I should YouTube it later because it's cool. Like I've seen it in my backyard. They do this thing where they shake their heads back and forth and they're squawking and they're looking at each other. I was like, whoa, look at those two. They're happy. All right. So again, it's kind of woodpecker. All right. Now this one I'm gonna have to kill the lights. I'm gonna show you this one without the lights. All right. This is one of those birds I decided to include, but I didn't. This is one that you may not see. I used to see these all the time. Okay, not so much anymore. It is the common grackle. Now, what I would type maybe next to this is, it looks like a crow, but it's not a crow. Crows are much bigger. This one is about, it's about this big, okay? And it's got a very yellow eye, but I know you can't see this as well, okay? But when you see them in real life, they almost have a metallic shimmer. Can you see this like little purple there? This kind of bluish, purplish. In real life, when the light hits it just right, you're like, oh, that bird's not just all black. It's almost got a dark purpley shimmer to it. Okay, that's the common grackle. Yeah. It's really cool. They have a relative called a boat-tailed grackle, and they live in Florida, and they're giant. They're much bigger. But we have grackles around here. But I just haven't seen them as much anymore. All right, this one, I like this bird. So it's called the Eastern towhee. It used to be called the rufous-sided towhee. So sometimes they change bird names over time. I don't know why. I don't know. They call it the Eastern towhee now. It's got this kind of rusty color side, red eye. It will only stay like near the ground. You're never going to see it at the top of a tree. Okay. It's got a very distinct call, and it goes like this: drink your tea, drink your tea. So that's what birders will say. The rufous-sided towhee, or now the Eastern towhee, literally says, drink your tea, drink your tea. And when you hear it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I can hear that. Okay, very cool bird. Migrates, okay, so it's going to be taken off here in a little bit. Comes back in May. Always stoked to see the Eastern towhee. It's got little white tips on its bottom, but there's no doubt you'll see the red eye. You'll see that rusty colored side. It's cool. All right, this bird, very common. Okay, this is one I guarantee you can see this week if you're kind of paying attention. It's called the black-capped chickadee. Okay, it's the black cap, and you probably heard it. They literally say chickadee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, chickadee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. They can be loud, very annoying. Now here's what's weird. Okay, in Indiana, okay, we have the black-capped chickadee and the Carolina chickadee, but the Carolina chickadee is only in southern Indiana. The black-capped chickadee is only in northern Indiana, except for North Manchester, Indiana, Wabash County. We have this fine line where there's some Carolinas and there's some black-capped, and we believe there's some interbreeding that's happening there, maybe a new subspecies. They were doing some work at Manchester College where they would trap these birds, take some blood out, and do DNA analysis to see, okay, what bird do we really have here? It's really kind of cool work. I always think of like Christmas time, because like I've seen these on like Christmas cards, on a picture of snowy like Christmas tree outside, coniferous tree, and with birds in it, and there's cardinals and chickadees, but they're tiny. I've seen people like chickadees will eat out of people's hands. It's kind of cool. I've never been able to do that. That's kind of neat. All right, this bird is
Red-winged blackbird.
you got it. This
It's
is
illegal to shoot.
yeah. You don't want to shoot these, buddy. Okay, so this now look. We're gonna learn some songs maybe later, but I gotta play this one right now because like there is no doubt in my mind that everyone in this room, you've heard this sound and you didn't know maybe what it was. So this is my one of my favorite websites, all about birds. It's run by Cornell, and I'm going to type in red-winged blackbird, red-winged blackbird, and I'm going to play this call, and you'll be like, oh, that's what that is. Here it is.
Whoa, I hear that a lot.
Summertime fields. Okay, this bird doesn't shut up, right? Have you heard this before?
I hear that
Yeah, all the time. By the way, if I'm a red-winged blackbird, okay, and this is a fence post, you're never gonna see two red-winged blackbirds together. They're extremely territorial. So we'll see one here, and then we'll see, oh man, they're out everywhere. There's one here, or if they're cattails, right? You'll see man on cattails. You'll never see two on cattails unless they're fighting. Now here's the crazy thing. Most birds, like think about those two indigo buntings. The male and female, yes, they look different, but at least they have the same beak. This is the female of the red-winged blackbird. I remember a couple of years ago, some kid was like, "You are making this up." We were out in the field at the Finn, and I said, "Oh yeah, there's a female red-winged blackbird," and I thought he was gonna punch me in the face. He's like, "You liar!" I was like, "No, it is, because it looks nothing like the male." Okay, this truly is a sign of spring. Robins, not a sign of spring. Okay, when someone goes, "Robins are back, it's spring's coming," that's not true. Robins stay around now. They've almost like, I mean, not all of them. They're what is their Turdus migratorius, I believe is its scientific name, because they would be, Turdus. they would be migrating, but we fed them. They've gotten lazy. Have you ever, like in the wintertime, like seen like, okay, it's like one of those days where it snowed, but it warms up a little bit. Okay, and the snow's not really melting, but like you'll see stuff like underneath trees, underground, and then all of a sudden you'll see like 20 like robins. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen this or noticed this before. Okay, you're like, where do those robins come from? Must be spring, but you're like, wait, it's December 15th, right? Well, where are they coming from? Robins will live in the woods. Okay, the woods is warm. Okay, they hang out there, and then if it gets a little warmed up, they'll go out and search for food. Okay, so robins, not a good sign of spring anymore. Go with the red-winged blackbird. Okay, and I always get pumped when I see that first red-winged blackbird of the year. Do you? Yeah. Who does? Oh, jeez. Please don't kill me. All right. Okay, let me say something right now. Right now, I'm gonna pick the camera up. Please, whatever you do, don't call this a buzzard.
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 Bradley Buzzard.
No, actually, I have to go to the bathroom.
Rude, buddy. Buddy, because I said it second. Where'd he go?
Take down that Bob Dylan poster and you'll be my best.
Once again, don't call it a buzzard.
Buzzard.
Okay, there are buzzards, by the way.
How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing good, actually.
Dr. Lippy, can you get down here right now? No, a lot of people do. You know, like it's kind of like people calling red-tailed hawks like chicken hawks and that kind of stuff. I get it. I did get one time. This kid did tell me this was a buddy of mine in college. He was kind of interested in birds a little bit. He knew I liked birds, and he said, "Oh man, look at those buzzards over there." I go, "Well, that's technically called a turkey vulture," and he's like, "No, they're buzzards." And I was like, "No, they're turkey vultures." And then he said, "No, they're buzzards." I'm like, "Who's telling you that they're buzzards?" And he goes, "My dad." And I was like, "Is your dad an ornithologist, man? Because unless he's not, like, they're turkey vultures. There are buzzards in real life, but they live in like Africa." Okay, so these are turkey vultures. Okay, why does the turkey vulture have no feathers on its head? It's ugly.
The turkey vulture. That's why. Turkey vulture.
Because what's that old like nature skit? They're like, "This is a tree. I know it's a maple tree because of the way it is, right?" Right. This is a turkey vulture. It's a turkey vulture because its head. Because of the way. Right now, there's a reason why it doesn't have any feathers on its head.
Oh, it has that disease that you don't have any hair.
Nice
Just-
guess.
just-
Alopecia.
Just in its
Trace.
face.
Great memory from yesterday. Nope.
I know.
I'll ask you this. What do turkey vultures eat?
Turkeys.
Any guesses? Dead animals. We call it a scavenger, right? And you'll see turkey vultures. I know you've probably seen them before on the side of the road. Not just hanging out. What are they doing on the side of the road? Eating what, though?
Human. Little children.
Roadkill, right? They're eating roadkill. And then you drive by and they fly away, right? And so they're eating roadkill, right? So this is kind of an adaptation so it can get its head in there and it doesn't have to clean those feathers off of its head. Okay. Now I will tell you, we could step outside. Maybe we'll do this at the end of the week. Okay. And we'll see turkey vultures. I've seen like 40 of them once on the top of the water tower. They like to hang out there. There's an old trash, an area that used to be a dump kind of over here by the college. You can see them easily circling there. Yeah, Zach. He hit one? Oh man, that'd be crazy. Yeah, so they will leave soon. Okay, so they come back in the spring. They'll leave during the winter. Why don't turkey vultures live here during the winter?
Because there's no roadkill or it's just frozen.
There's roadkill, but it's frozen. And turkey vultures don't have microwaves, right? So yeah, so they take off. Now look, you're like, man, that's so weird. Like it looks like such a weird thing. Look, sometimes birds do get diseases. Here's one with a mite disease that took away its feathers. Except it's kind of like a punk rock though, you know. It's like it's got that one like. Right? What anybody know what this bird is? No, this isn't a turkey vulture. This is a bird that once I tell you what it is, you're like, what? No way. No guesses?
Is that?
I'll give you a hint. The female is brown, so this is a female. The male is red.
Cardinal?
Cardinal.
Are you
This
serious?
is a cardinal.
No way.
Yes, and I've seen it in real life. The feathers will fall off of its head because of, now look, all birds like molt their feathers. They just don't do it all at once. They'll shed one here, shed one there. This is why you find like feathers on the ground. It's not because they necessarily died. It's because that feather was time to go. They're growing a new feather. Okay, every year they grow new feathers, right? Okay, and I mean, think about it. Think about how much like abuse those feathers take. These birds are flying from Chile to like North Manchester. Like, what the heck, right? So that's you're gonna be in storms, wind. They take abuse. And by the way, there's spring migration and fall migration for a lot of these really cool birds like warblers. Okay, and in the spring they are beautiful. Okay, they look like fantastic. Okay, by the time fall comes, when they're going back, they don't look the same. They look like they've been, run through the ringer or whatever. I don't know. It's like it's like horrible, right? I mean, it's bad. So anyway, they shed their feathers. So there you go. All right, let's do a couple more. Yeah, there's a Canada goose.
I almost got
Canada goose. Right?
attacked by one.
I won't take off points if you're both Canadian, but it is Canada goose. Some people say, they've become somewhat of a pest species that we probably should have shot them a long time ago when they came here from Canada. I like Canadians, but these are a bummer. Here's a weird thing about the Canada goose, though. The Canada goose, okay, look at this picture. Do you notice that, like, here's its legs, okay? One way to control Canada geese is like around a pond, or an area where you don't want them, is to let the grass grow higher. They're very, like, finicky. They don't like it when the grass touches their butt feathers, right? Basically how to put that. And so that's one thing. Now I have a friend that manages a natural area called Mary Lee, and they have to control, because they poop a lot. Okay, they poop a lot, and they do change the makeup of ponds. Okay, and so here's what he does, and I think this is interesting. I never knew about this until I met my friend Bill. So he kills them. Okay, but he doesn't shoot the Canada geese. Okay, here's what he does. He waits for them to lay their eggs, and he doesn't take the egg away, because if you take the egg away, then the Canada goose will just lay another egg. Here's what he does. He puts oil on the eggs, okay, and that blocks the oxygen from getting into the egg. So even though, I mean, you got to think about this. That thing's growing, right? It's got to breathe a little bit too, So it blocks it. What's that, dude?
It just pretty much gives the egg an abortion.
Well, yeah. So yeah, it kills the egg. But here's what's the great thing is the goose doesn't lay another egg. It just sits on that egg and keeps thinking like, when's this baby gonna come out? Remember I told you yesterday the brown-eyed cowbird. You know, birds are kind of dumb. Yeah, right. Yeah, Zach, what were you gonna say? No worries, man.
Yeah, Zach.
Can you eat the Canada goose eggs? That's a great question. I've never had one. Miss Miller and I, she goes with me to the Everglades with her husband, Dino, and we'd go to this place, this farmer's market down there, and they always sell emu eggs. So you have to literally, to get the emu egg open, you have to use a drill. Like you can't crack it. Like you can bring it back on the plane and drop it, throw it, it won't crack. You have to drill it to get it open. So I've had emu eggs, but I've never had Canada goose eggs. It might be interesting to see what they're like. All right. Let's see what we have here. Let's see it real quick. Today is 50. Okay, let's do a couple more. Who said that? Oh, nice. Did you look at the list or did you know it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, this is turds. This is a Cooper's hawk. And the Cooper's hawk, a lot of people call it a sparrowhawk because it is smaller. Okay, so here's a red-tailed hawk, right? Okay, Cooper's hawk is about this big. 100% Cooper's hawks live in town in North Manchester. Okay, you can see these in town. I've got one that lives kind of over by my house. Okay, I've seen one time this was the craziest thing. I saw this squirrel, and this is on 2nd Street. Okay, this squirrel was trying to get away from a cat. Okay, which is crazy. So this cat was like a little piney squirrel. You know the little ones? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the chipmunk.
Not chipmunk, but the one they're red. They have white bellies. Pine squirrel, pinies. Okay, so it was like I saw it. I was like walking home from dropping my car off to get the oil changed, and I see this cat, caught my attention, and then I see it looking at this squirrel, and I was like, that's cool. Wonder what's gonna happen here, right? So the cat starts to pounce to grab the squirrel. The squirrel gets away, and I was like, yeah. And then out of nowhere, this Cooper's hawk comes down, dive bombs the squirrel, grabs it by the neck, and flies off. And I was like, whoa! It was like one of those moments I was like, I wish like I was like filming, like, or I had a film crew following me, or like, I don't know, I would watch that thing over again. It was the craziest thing. So like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. Boom, that Cooper's hawk came down. Now, one way that you'll know that you've seen a Cooper's hawk is that it's got a band on its tail, like actually 1, 2, 3 bands. So it's a white tail with black streaks across it, okay? That's the Cooper's hawk. And I used to have one. I used to have a bunch of taxidermy animals all over my room, and then the state said we had to get rid of them because they could be an allergy. I don't know. It was dumb. But there you go. All right, Cooper's hawk. Let's do one last one. Oh, this is a little cutie. This is the tufted titmouse. Okay. Okay. And then so it's got kind of a tuft on its head, right? This bird is about this big. Okay. It is gray. We have tons of them around here. And the tufted titmouse says, Peter, 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 Pete. Peter, 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 Pete. Okay, sometimes a couple more Peters in there. Couple more, right? The tufted titmouse. It's loud, by the way. Like, I mean, you could hear the all the way to the bus hub, a tufted titmouse. They're incredibly loud, but they're cuties, and they stay around all winter for sure. And sometimes you can get these at your bird feeder. Does anybody have a bird feeder at their house? Okay, great. Okay, have you seen a tufted? Have you seen one of these tufted? I hope now, if you never looked at your bird feeder, maybe you're just like, oh man, my mom puts it out there and it's dumb. I got to fill it up. I never even look at the birds. I hope now you kind of look at them, or maybe your grandma or grandpa's got one at their house because they like that sort of thing. All right. So what number are we on? What number is this? 16. Right on, man. That's not bad. We're almost halfway there. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, any questions? How about you at home? You guys doing all right?
Yeah, they're on home. All right, Zach.
Does it count for us too if we win? Oh yeah, it counts if you win. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, do me a favor real quick, because I'm gonna probably eliminate this chat. Will you guys send me an email with your dates on that? Oh wait, you're gonna turn in the assignment anyways. You're gonna turn in your notes. Just make sure it's on there. Just make sure, like next to Dark Eye Junko, that you write the date. You got me? Is that cool? Is that good? Great. All right. Hey, see you guys. Thanks for joining me.